divorce, trust, and the new story of protecting property. Imagine wedding preparations are going on in a big business family. Expensive lights, designer clothes, a luxurious hotel, a crowd of relatives, and an atmosphere of happiness everywhere. From the outside, everything looks perfect. But in the middle of this happiness, the elders of the family are sitting in a separate room. Wedding cards are not being looked at there. Property papers are being looked at. The question is not how grand the wedding will be. The real question is, if tomorrow this relationship breaks, then into whose hands will the family, home, business, and generations of earnings go? The fear begins here, because in India, marriage is not considered just a relationship between two people. It is a union of family, property, emotions, and law, where one wrong financial decision can trap years of hard work in a legal battle. Curiosity is born here. When prenuptial agreements, meaning prenups, do not have clear and strong legal recognition in India, what are wealthy families doing to protect their assets? Is there a way in which the son or daughter can receive benefits but the property does not directly come in their name? Is there a structure through which, at the time of divorce, making a direct claim over property becomes difficult? And the biggest question, is this method only a game of the rich, or are middle-class families also beginning to understand it now? At the center of this story is the Private Family Discretionary Trust. The name sounds a little complex, but the concept is simple. A trust means that a person puts their property or wealth into a separate legal structure. The responsibility of managing this trust lies with the trustee, and the people for whose benefit this trust is created are called beneficiaries. This means the property does not remain directly in the name of the son, daughter, or any family member, but goes in the name of the trust. The beneficiary may receive benefits from it, but they are not always the direct owner of that property. Trust is not a new idea in India. Families have earlier also created trusts for succession planning, inheritance, and business continuity. Earlier, the purpose was that family property should reach the next generation in an orderly way, there should be no fight between children, and the business should not break and go into different hands. But now a new angle has been added to this story. Divorce risk. Some high-net-worth families are now looking at trusts not just as an inheritance tool, but also as a matrimonial risk management tool. A report by Economic Times said that affluent families in India, especially business families, are moving toward private family discretionary trusts to avoid the financial impact of divorce, because prenups are still not considered a legally clear and fully enforceable shield in India. This is why some families put the family home, business shares, or large assets into a trust structure even before marriage, so that later it can be argued that the property was never in the spouse's personal ownership. Now, one thing must be understood very clearly here. A trust does not mean that a person will automatically escape maintenance, alimony, or legal responsibility. Indian courts in divorce matters do not look only at title, but also at income, lifestyle, conduct, financial capacity, and the spouse's need. Under Section 25 of the Hindu Marriage Act, for permanent alimony and maintenance, the court can pass an order after looking at the respondent's income, property, the applicant's income, and other circumstances. So a trust is not a magic button. It is a legal structure whose strength depends on whether it is genuine or whether it was created in a hurry just to avoid divorce. Now imagine, there is a family whose 3 generations built a textile business together. The grandfather started with a small shop, the father started exports, and the son is now managing the business with modern management. The son gets married. The family wants the daughter-in-law to come into the home, relationships to become strong, but they also want that if someday the marriage breaks down, the family business should not get stuck in court cases. In such a situation, instead of making the son the direct owner of the business, they make him a beneficiary in the trust. This means the son can receive benefits from the business, but the shares or property are not in his personal name. This is where the real power of a discretionary trust comes in. Discretionary means the beneficiary does not automatically get a fixed share. The trustee decides which beneficiary will receive how much benefit and when, according to the conditions of the trust deed. If a beneficiary says that this entire property is mine, then legally the matter is not that simple. Because ownership belongs to the trust, not the individual. This structure can create a protective layer in cases like divorce or creditor claims. But this protection also has limits. If the trust has been created only for show, if the control over the property is actually with the same person who is being shown as the beneficiary, if the transfer is fraudulent, or if the property has suddenly been put into the trust after the divorce dispute has started, then the court may become suspicious. In the eyes of the law, there is a difference between genuine planning and asset hiding. If the purpose of the trust is family wealth management, succession, and the security of dependents, then it can be viewed differently. But if its purpose is to deliberately harm the spouse, then the path for a legal challenge can open. The confusion around prenups in India exists because marriage is not considered only a contract. In many personal laws, marriage is seen as a social and religious institution. That is why, unlike Western countries, prenups in India do not automatically get strong enforceability. Some legal experts say that prenups can be useful for showing intent, helping in settlement, and bringing transparency, but they are not guaranteed protection. This legal gray area pushes families toward alternative structures. Now, this trend is no longer limited only to billionaire families. Upper middle class families are also understanding it. Especially those families that have one ancestral house, a small business, rental income, or property built with the parents' life savings. They fear that if a serious dispute happens in the children's marriage, the parents' property may also indirectly get dragged into the legal fight. So they think that instead of transferring the property directly into the child's name, it should be kept in a trust, so that there is protection and control also remain structured. This story is not limited only to the protection of men or sons. In many cases, parents also create trusts for their daughter and her children. Imagine, a daughter gets married, but after marriage she has to repeatedly ask her husband for money even for her personal expenses. If her parents have created a trust instead of giving property directly in her name, in which the daughter and her children are beneficiaries, then her financial security can remain protected in a different way. This means a trust can also provide security to women, especially in situations where the family wants the daughter's property to remain protected even after marriage. This thinking is also increasing among NRI families. When children live in a foreign country, marry in a different culture, and marriage laws may apply across different jurisdictions, parents become more cautious. They fear that if in foreign divorce proceedings, questions are raised about family assets, then property kept in India may also come into dispute. In such cases, trust planning becomes a serious discussion for cross-border families. But creating a trust is not just about getting one document made. The trust deed has to be drafted very carefully. It states what the purpose of the trust is, what the assets are, who the trustee will be, who the beneficiaries will be, how distribution will happen, what powers the trustee will have, and under what conditions benefits will be given. If the deed is weak, the language is unclear, or control appears to be in the hands of only one person, then questions can be raised about the credibility of the trust. That is why experts say that in trust planning, the role of a tax advisor, lawyer, and wealth planner is very important. Another important angle is tax. While creating a trust, issues like stamp duty, capital gains, income tax, and compliance may come up. Transferring every asset into a trust is not simple. Property, shares, business interest, mutual funds, bank accounts, or family office assets, each can be treated differently. That is why creating a trust only after looking at divorce risk is not practical. It is a complete wealth planning decision, in which long-term consequences have to be understood. Now the question comes, after divorce, will the wife not get even a single share of the property? The answer is not so direct. If the property is not in the husband's personal name and is in a genuine trust, then a direct ownership claim over that specific asset may become difficult. But this does not mean that the wife will be deprived of maintenance, alimony, residence rights, or child support. Indian courts look at financial reality. If the husband is living a luxurious lifestyle, receiving benefits from the trust, and the wife is dependent, then the court will not ignore that lifestyle and available resources. So it would be wrong to say that once a trust is created, nothing has to be given in divorce. The correct point is that a trust can reduce the risk of direct asset division or ownership claim, but obligations like maintenance and fair support are separate legal questions. Especially, no trust can save anyone from the responsibility of children. Child support is always connected to the welfare of the child, and courts treat it as a serious priority. The other side of this story is ethical too. Marriage runs on trust, and the property-related trust should not weaken the trust in the relationship. If before marriage, the family speaks only in the language of protection, and the partner feels that they are being viewed with suspicion, bitterness can enter the relationship. But on the other hand, in modern India, divorce, second marriages, blended families, business risks, and cross-cultural marriages are increasing. In such a situation, calling financial clarity only negativity is also not right. The real problem is transparency. If wealth planning is honest, meant for family succession, designed for the security of both daughters and sons, and keeps the interests of all dependents in mind, then a trust can become a responsible tool. But if it is used only to weaken the spouse, suppress rights, or confuse the court, then it can make future litigation even more complex. In India, there is still no uniform and clear law regarding matrimonial property division, like community property or marital property rules seen in many Western countries. In this gap, long legal fights happen over alimony, maintenance, settlement, 𝐼𝐸𝐻, jointly owned property, and personal assets. This uncertainty forces wealthy families to plan in advance. What is the lesson for a middle-class family? Not everyone needs to create a trust. If the property is limited, income is simple, and the family structure is clear, then nomination, will, joint ownership clarity and proper documentation can also help a lot. But if there is a family business, ancestral property, multiple heirs or children's marriages are happening in different legal and cultural backgrounds, then taking professional advice on trust planning can be wise. The most important thing is that any legal structure should not be seen as preparation for breaking a marriage, but as planning for family security. Just as people take insurance, it does not mean they want an accident. Just as people make a will, it does not mean they are inviting death. In the same way, creating a trust can be a signal for many families that they want to avoid future disputes, keep wealth orderly, and secure dependence. But if someone is creating a trust, only thinking that after divorce nothing has to be given to the spouse, then they should be careful. Courts may look more at substance than form. This means, along with what is written on paper, who has the real control, who is enjoying the income, when the trust was created, and what its purpose was, these questions can all be important. This is the biggest twist of this whole story. A trust can protect property, but it cannot protect wrong intention. Genuine planning can give you protection, but sham planning can put you into an even bigger legal dispute. That is why understanding private family discretionary trusts is important, but looking at them as a shortcut or guarantee is dangerous. Today in India, the relationship between marriage, money and law is changing rapidly. Earlier people talked only about emotions in marriage. Now financial compatibility, asset ownership, business risk, inheritance and future security are also becoming part of the conversation. Some people will find this practical, some will find it uncomfortable. But the truth is that when relationships are good, clear planning is easiest. After a dispute starts, clarity does not come, only allegations come. So if a family has large property, a business, or concern about the children's future, do not take any step in haste. Trust, will, nominee, ownership structure and tax planning, understand all of these before making a decision. And if any financial planning has to be done in a marriage, it should be done with fairness, transparency and legal advice. Because in the end, the question is not only which property will go to whom after divorce. The real question is whether the family will be able to protect its hard-earned wealth for the coming generations, whether a balance can be created between the rights of husband and wife, and whether the planning made before the law will prove to be genuine. That is why today private family trust is not just the legal strategy of the rich, but has become the family wealth story of changing India.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.